Well, it's another 5 days of the Clash of the Titans. This time it's against Rocket and Groot. And that's Rocket and Groot. Well, at least those who are lower level or have a lesser equipped Dazzler, they should be able to beat Rocket and Groot. Because the yellow doesn't create as many strike tiles. The blue uh, doesn't create that strong of attack tiles, and it doesn't do that much more damage. And then the green, it'll do a decent amount of damage, but again, it's not gonna be to the point where it's like, oh my goodness, I gotta manage Dazzler's health. So that's Rocket and Groot. This is Dazzler. Um, um, okay, I got like a few thoughts that I was trying to get out, to get them out. One, I remember that she was a gag on the forums. It's like, oh my goodness, it's gonna be Dazzler as a character. It's gonna be Dazzler as a character, you know. And so they eventually made Dazzler into a character, and her main thing is to counteract special tile users. But she's flawed, but at the same time, if you have the right team working with her, she can neutralize some of those special tiles at least. So black ability is Survivor. This is the ability that I was telling you about, neutralizing special tiles. So Dazzler has to be in front, and she takes whatever the threshold of damage is for every 2 friendly strike, attack, or protect tiles that you have on the board. Is that you remove up to 2 enemy strike, attack, or protect tiles on the board and stun the target for 1 turn. So that's why I said you have to have the right team with her. So Dazzler would have to obviously be out in front making a black match, but with my roster, the normal suspects that I would have doing that there, they can't necessarily do it. Dance Floor Queen costs 10, it's red, she creates 5 strike tiles, and then if you have additional red AP, you can create 3 more strike tiles on the board. And so if you want to get a better effect of it, and fire this power when you have 13, so that way you can get more strike tiles on the board. And then finally, Sound of Light and Fury. This is a green power, it costs 7. She deals damage to the enemy team plus additional damage for every friendly special tile that you have on the board. And that includes countdown tiles, protect, invisibility tiles, whatever the case might be, repeater tiles. Alright? So the main thing you want to do if you're lesser equipped, again, you want to boost red and you want to boost green, and then have some sort of black match damage boost. If you have our good friend Taskmaster and the Taskmaster sword, you could use that there as well. Also, too, before I forget, she's also a member of Heroes and X-Men, if I'm not mistaken, right? Okay, Heroes, Mutants, and X-Men. Alright, normally I would have the animation already on before the start of the fight, but okay, so the main thing we want to do with Rocket and Groot, want to deny blue, want to deny green. And priority 2 is to get rid of as many of these strike tiles as we can. We'll go this way to get rid of the strike tile. I'll go here, even though I could have grabbed the red. Don't want to leave them with a match 4. Can't fire off Sounds of Light and Fury because we don't have enough special tiles on the board. Blue. Get the match 4 on red. Get rid of that last strike tile. We'll take the initial damage for Rocket Pack. Well, not the initial damage, not yet. There we go. So it's 500 damage. Alright. So let's go ahead and fire off Dance Floor Queen, then we'll fire off Sounds of Light and Fury, and then we'll make the match 5. Because we wanna, oh, we can fire off twice. I forgot I had enough. Then we'll make the match 5, and that should kill Rocket. See? Okay. Little simple order of operations. Make sure, you know, you don't make the match. That you want to make sure that you give yourself the right amount of damage to make. Because if you would have made the match 5, then fire up the powers, you probably would have had another turn with Rocket and Groot. And I get a heroic 10 pack from my resupply. And within the next couple of days, get another recruit token for the latest legends, and then 25 command points, which again, that's going to help out with anniversary. And Biggs, thank you for hitting me with your roster, because you really didn't stand a chance against Null and 5-star Captain America, because that's who I left. I think that's who I left as my defensive team. Let's say if it's not them, there's probably Wanda and Colossus. I don't know. So looking at Dazzler, the main thing with her, like I said in the initial part of the video, you want to make sure that you have somebody that can generate special tiles for her already. That's number 1. Number 2, you want to make sure that she is out in front tanking the attack so that she can activate her survivor ability and then remove the special tiles and then stun the person, whoever that you're targeting out in front. Make sure that they're stunned. But other than that, she's really more of a niche character. So it's not someone that you would prioritize having. However, if she's on, you know, if you have her on your roster, you know, it's always good for rewards. So, like I said, with Survivor, again, you gotta have special tiles on the board. So, you know, 4-star Rocket and Groot, they're gonna be making strike tiles for you to make all this business happen. So again, she jumps out in front, or actually doesn't jump out in front. She just does the damage. Removes these special tiles and then stuns the target for a turn. Yeah, for some reason I thought she could stun for multiple turns, but it's just a 1 turn. Dance Floor Queen, I kind of wish this here had a little bit of a damaging component to it, instead of just, okay, well, I'm gonna blanketly make you strike tiles on the board. But again, that's just me. Um, as far as red abilities goes, uh, it's okay. It's not it's not the worst thing in the world, but you know, it tangibly does make a difference on the board with the strike tiles. I mean, at my point in time in the game, making strike tiles, you know, oh my gosh, I can make strike tiles off of red when there's characters like Polaris, who at the start of the turn, well, start of the battle, well, no, start of the turn, she creates strike tiles. At Rocket and Groot's case, they make them at the start of the battle, and Dazzler was supposed to be a indirect counter to Rocket and Groot, with uh them, Medusa, and Gamora. Then other characters appeared and blah blah blah, and then Sounds of Light and Fury. Now, for what it does with this green power, when you deal team damage, and then if you have at least 10 special tiles on the board, is that you can do about 3,000 damage. A little more than 3,000 damage. So, but I guess now it's easier to get the max of 10. Is that I understand why it's capped. Because at the time, there was no Polaris, there were no real special tile abusers in the game. So I understand about the damage cap. But as far as player or people to team her up with, again, Rocket and Groot, so you can get Survivor to easily activate, sooner, so you can stun whomever it is that you're trying to target. But again, you got to make sure that she's the one that's making the match, that she's out in front. Because if she's not out in front, then you do Dance Floor Queen. I mean, you won't get Survivor to activate, and you'll be saying to yourself, well, why? So let's look at all the people that can make special tiles, passively or even actively, that could help Dazzler out. Medusa, to a degree, she can help out. Nova, he can help out with his yellow and his black ability. But again, with my Medusa, my Nova, and then also Polaris, they'll be tanking over Dazzler, especially Nova. I want to say Nova in his 131, and then my Dazzler would be, I think it was 117, correct? Yeah, 117. So Nova wouldn't even be a good option with Dazzler, to be honest with you. Again, for my roster. Neither would Polaris, because again, Polaris's green is much stronger than, in terms of match damage, it would be stronger than Dazzler. So that's not a great option. Same with Cloak and Dagger. Like Cloak and Dagger, they can make special tiles. Strike, attack, and protect tiles, but you really gonna be using Cloak and Dagger with Dazzler, even though, yeah, the whole 70s motif of flashing lights and all that there. I mean, yeah, sure, but realistically, not so much. Hulkbuster, with his black, yes, you can create strike tiles. His blue with protect tiles, but his requires a little bit more AP. By the time you get 11 in black and 9 in blue, um, at this point in time in Marvel Puzzle Quest uh, stage of the game, uh, you should be either wiping your opponent out, or I should say, one of your opponents should have already been down because of, the various passive abilities. Uh, Captain Marvel, I mean, I guess, but again, Dazzler really needs to tank black, and again, with my Carol's case, not so much. Coulson, yes, he does make special tiles, well, strike tiles on the board, but you need a lot more setup, and by the time you want to get the setup for Dazzler, wouldn't recommend it. Nick Fury, he only makes one strike tile with his purple ability, so no. Iron Fist, again, I mean, he would help out with special tile fortification, well, the strike tile fortification with his blue, but again, you gotta have enough. You gotta get enough red, then have enough blue, then fire them off in sequential order, and then have Dazzler out in front, and hope that you're taking 1500 damage. So again, the hoops and hurdles to get that set up, I wouldn't recommend it. But I mean, her and Iron Fist as a team, I mean, you could do some things. Her natural partner would be Rocket and Groot. Again, the idea with Rocket and Groot, you have the strike tiles already on the board with their yellow, have Dazzler out in front taking the match, and if you're fighting off against another Rocket and Groot team, she would take out some of the special tiles that's on the board for whoever was out in front whenever the AI made the match, and then boom. Valkyrie, I mean, you could use Valkyrie. I mean, she makes special tiles on her yellow, but you need to meet the damage threshold, and again, this is like a Nova situation too. Her red and her black are much stronger, at least in terms of mass damage, than my Dazzler, so that wouldn't be a very good idea. Excuse me. Thing with this jump out in front mechanic, but that's really slowing the fight down even more. So I'm saying there's much better uses of Thing than pairing him up with Dazzler. Gamora, I mean, that's an option too, with her black and then blue creating a stun. But again, with Gamora, does she really need Dazzler to help her out? Not really. Like, Gamora could independently, stun folks by herself and then do other board manipulation to where she really wouldn't need Dazzler. Moon Knight, again, is that you got a 2/3 chance of getting one of Moon Knight's special tile ability moves, or I should say personalities, with either Aspect of Khonshu or Mr. Knight, where you create attack tiles whenever you match black, or whenever you match green, you create strike tiles. But again, that's not really reliable of a team. And then also too, Moon Knight, he's tanking black and he's tanking green as well. So again, not that great of an option. Ant-Man, I mean, I guess, but again, you gotta get 9 purple, and then trying to set up the 9 purple. You got better ways of getting your team set up. Electra, again, same thing. In order to get Electra to work right, you need 14 purple to, fire off the initial uh, action of double cross, and then steal those tiles that you created from double cross again. It's like that's just wasting time. Sandman with his yellow, I mean, he can create purple. I mean, protect tiles. So I mean, at least his is somewhat cheap. I don't know what I mean by cheap. I mean like 10, which isn't really that cheap, but cool. Black Panther, yeah, I mean he could conceivably work because he makes fortified special tiles. So again, that's an option. But you gotta make sure that Dazzler's out in front. Um, so I think she. Trying to think here. No, he'd still tank red over her because his red's a little bit stronger. Again, at least for my roster. Mr. Fantastic. I mean, you could, but then you got a chance of any of his special time. I mean, his Imagine not being um making lock tiles or giving you AP, so that's not really reliable. Yondu is an option to get some strike tiles on the board, but again, you need 7 in black, and then your opponent has to have more AP in in a particular color, so that's a thing. Um, X23 means she can create strike tiles, but again, you need to have uh, 9, well, excuse me, 18 in green, and then you need 9 in red, so that when you fire off her green ability, she creates strike. I mean, she does the initial damage, and then she creates strike tiles, and then you can fire off Dazzler's ability to create more strike tiles. Again, a lot more hassle than what it's worth. Blade, he can passively create strike tiles on the board with his red ability, but the problem is you gotta have enough red on the board. You don't have, and you also kind of need the red to feed the Dazzler. But if you get too much red, Blade kicks in, and you won't have enough red to use Dazzler's ability. So I wouldn't recommend Blade. Jean Grey, her green creates special tiles, but you also kind of want to fire off Dazzler's green, so not so much. Flapton, I mean, if you can get enough of the board flooded with projectiles, I mean, sure. Wasp, she only makes 1 of each, 1 strike tile, 1 projectile. Carnage, I mean, he could work, but again, it's like Dazzler would need to tank colors, and the way that my Carnage is built, he'll be tanking most of the colors over her. Gwenpool makes projectiles, but again, I really wouldn't recommend it. Lockjaw, you can create special tiles or strike attack or protect tiles, but again, his is board dependent, so that's not too reliable. Ghost Rider is the same way with Carnage. His green creates special tiles. You kind of want to use her green to do some things. His red can create a repeater tile that makes attack tiles on the board every turn, but you kind of want to have her strike tiles on the board to increase the damage. So no. Let's see here. Nico, she can create strike, attack, or protect tiles, but you kind of want Nico to take damage, so I don't know about that interaction there. Punisher, Like Punisher would be tanking black for her. Blue is blue is solid for Punisher. You know, creating strike tiles. Magic, anytime you fire off a power, create projectiles, then fortify them. You know, that's an option. Sabretooth makes out enemy special tiles, so you know that would help with the removal. But you know, but then again, you kind of so there. Say Sabretooth is a much more efficient way of dealing with the problem of Rocket and Groot and Polaris than Dazzler is. Like if we're being totally honest. War Machine, again, he creates attack tiles on the board, but his red and her red conflict. Venom only creates enemy special tiles. Nebula, her and Dazzler would be conflicting with both the red and the green. Her blue does make does make special tiles on the board, but again, that's whatever. Emma and Drax. In Emma's case, she makes strike tiles every 2 turns. Drax, his costs 9 in purple, and then it's like, how is it 9 or is it 8 in purple? 9, and it's like, okay, I gotta wait so many turns to get enough purple to create enough strike tiles on the board, and no, I in good conscience cannot recommend that. Super Scroll, again, his is 7 in blue. You can have a 1-turn repeater tile that makes attack tiles on the board every turn. I mean that's an option, but again, you know, you gotta have Dazzler out in front, and he'll tank green over her when you get higher levels. So, again, Carolina Dean, she could be an option too, but again, Carolina's green is a little bit better than Dazzler's because it temporarily heals. Oh, let's see here. Legion, he can do it, but again, getting to the point to where you can actually activate Legion's abilities at that point in time, there, either you're winning the fight even further, or you're about to lose the fight, one or the other. Wolfsbane, her red creates strike tiles on the board, but you kind of want to, again, they'll be conflicted with Dazzler. Scorpion makes strike tiles anytime. Well, the first time it's a once per turn, a hard once per turn that he creates strike tiles, a strike tile on the board. So he's not that reliable. Hawkeye, anytime you match red, you create attack tiles on the board. So I mean that could work. Patsy, she creates strike tiles with her swipe right. So that's her red ability. So again, that's an option. Human Torch, anytime you fire off a power, he creates strike tiles, so that can be somewhat reliable. Somewhat. Red Guardian, similar to Human Torch, anytime you fire off a power, he creates a projectile. Misty Knight, she creates special tiles on the board with her blue, so I mean that could be an option. Dark Beast and Silk, again, both of them create attack tiles on the board, but with Dark Beast is a countdown tile that, you know, when it resolves, yeah, cool. And then also too, if you make any matches, if the enemy makes any matches, you know, with your special tiles, you create protect tiles, but Dark Beast is much better on on a team independent of somebody else. Silk, I mean, yeah, sure, but again, Silk is much better with a web team than anybody else. Nah. Kate Pride, I mean, yeah, her yellow creates uh projectiles. Her red, what do they care? You'd be conflicting with Dazzler in terms of red, and you know Dazzler wants to keep the special strike attack projectiles on the board, but Kate wants them to be matched away. So it's like, and Hydra Stomp. I don't have enough information on Hydra Stomper to make a reliable what's the name. So, the long story. I know that I spent like maybe 15-20 minutes explaining Dazzler, like teams you could use with Dazzler. The long story short is this: there are much better characters in the game to use, uh, to remove enemy special tiles and to do stunning and all that. There, Dazzler was the first attempt. Uh, Sabretooth is your go-to guy if you just want to blanketly remove strike tiles on the board. Morbius is your much better option if you just want to completely remove special tiles or get rid of special tiles. Period. All right. So yeah. Wow. Yeah. So yeah. So I just spent almost 30 minutes trying to give out a team for Dazzler when I should have just said, yeah, just use Morbius or Sabretooth if you really want to go through and remove enemy special tiles instead of going through the Olympics like Dazzler or using Dazzler. So yeah, so next Crush of the Titans is in 4 days and some hours. It's got Nightcrawler. Um, that one is actually gonna be pretty fun and probably won't take as long. Anyway, enjoy the rest of y'all's um, day, week, whatever. Make sure you finished off your alliance events. Make sure you finished off all your stuff in the season, and enjoy the off season.